Right. Hey guys, so we're back, and today we have another review. You can see in the bottom text, if you can read, that this is a Lunchables review. So Lunchables, I'm not going to hide it, pretty significant part of a lot of childhoods, not just mine, but other people that I know, right? And the Lunchable, it's kind of an interesting snack, and we'll talk about why it's an interesting snack. For those of you snack aficionados in the world, you know, you know. Um, but before we get to that, just a quick mention here. I've changed sort of the format, as you can see. We're still shooting in the same place. There's just no curtain on the side this time because we changed. Well, I changed the camera. I'm now using a smartphone front facing camera instead of a laptop camera. So hopefully that gets some better audio and image. So just let me know in the comments whether you prefer this style. Technically, for from like a technical standpoint, or what we had last week with the laptop camera. I think this might be better quality. It already looks better from just looking at myself talk. But again, I'll leave that up to you guys. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Lunchables and doing a bit of a review of that snack. All right. So there's two things that we're looking out for in this review. One of them is it worth your money? All right. And this is a very subjective question for a lot of people. Take like a luxury vehicle, for example, like an $80,000 Audi sports car or luxury sedan. To some people, yeah, it's worth the money. They want to have that experience of driving around. Or if you're a BMW driver, you want to have that experience of just not using your turn signals and generally not being nice to people in parking lots. But to other people, like it's not worth the money. They don't see the value proposition there. So, when I talk about the value of this snack, it's very something that's very subjective. All right, I can't say that it'll hold true for everyone. But something that's a bit more objective is whether something's just a massive ripoff or not. All right, whether something's a ripoff and someone's trying to trick you, or you're being had, that's usually pretty obvious. So I will let you know today whether Lunchables are a ripoff or not. All right. Again, I know it sucks to be ripped off. It's not always your fault, right? So a lot of us went to go see Avatar: The Way of Water, right? Um, and we got ripped off because it's just not worth whatever you paid to go see it, even if you paid like half price on a Tuesday to see it. Uh, so, however, there's the people who saw it a second time, and in that case, you're just an idiot. You like getting ripped off. So this video is not for you guys. This is for like the real, hardworking people who want to make good, informed snack buying choices. This is for you guys. All right. And I do this, not because I get some kick out of talking about snacks or anything. I mean, I do, but it's to help this community with, a very trivial aspect of their lives. And no, this video is not sponsored. There's no corporate plugs or anything, right? I mean, there's like a million things in front of me right now that I could start shilling, but I believe in the integrity of this process. So I'm not just going to tell you to go out and buy Dove Men Plus Care, right? I'm not going to tell you about the quality of this deodorant, how much it helps me, how much I enjoy using this product, the reasonable price point. I'm not going to tell you anything about that because, I have integrity. I am the realest snack reviewer on YouTube. I am so real that I don't edit my videos. There's no flash or anything. I just film it and then I post it right afterwards. You can't get more real than that, right? So to all the real ones watching, shout out to you guys. All right. So that said, let's talk about the Lunchable. Right. I have it somewhere here. Right. So the Lunchable. Uh, so I want you to rewind the clock back to like 2005, 2004 type era. I was like, 7, 8 years old back then, young buck, learning his way in the world. And one of the interesting areas where you first learn about like class distinction and like who's rich, who's poor, is with school lunches, right? It's over there. Uh, School lunches, right? So So, you have the poor kids, like poor to like middle poor, like, everyday kind of like average, below average kids. And, we usually have like crappy sandwiches for lunch, right? Either we make them or parents make them, whatever. It's like a little sandwich in a Ziploc bag. Not not a great meal, but it feeds you. Then you have kind of like the richer kids, the upper middle class kids. They come with like their little fancy bowls with a salad or some noodles or like a chicken breast or something like that, right? Some really well prepared lunch. They always have a bunch of fruits, maybe like a little dark chocolate, ooh la la, right? Then you have just the neglected kids, right? Just even poorer than the poor kids, like poor, poor, dirt poor. And they always show up with like, like a cold pizza or, like a week old McDonald's hamburger, or maybe they don't have a lunch. And then, that kind of becomes everyone's problem, right? So it's a really interesting place. That's where you kind of start to learn these hierarchies, and it probably affects you later in life in ways that, well, I don't know. Like I'm not a social theorist. I'm not what's it called, a sociologist, so I wouldn't know. Uh, but then there was those one kid. Then that one kid. Then there was that one kid in your class, or maybe a couple of them, who every single day, they kind of defied that categorization, right? These kids were so cool and so out there, and their families were, either super super rich, or the kid was super neglected, or there was like a situation where like the kid was being raised by the nanny because the parents were off in Europe doing European things, with British people and all that. And this kid, this exceptional kid, often the cool kid in the class, would have a Lunchable. So everybody wanted the Lunchable, right? You can remember thinking back to the first time you saw someone with like that little package, like opening it up, putting their food together, right? Because your food comes disassembled. Is it a feature or is it a glitch? We'll discuss that later. And the Lunchable is just, it makes an impression on you. So you want to try it, right? You want to go out to the grocery store the next day and you want to buy the, whatever Lunchable is available there and bring it to school the next day, right? Having the Lunchable back then, well, it's like dabbing on a kid, right? It's dabbing, dunking. I don't know what the kids say now, right? It's that on a kid, right? It's like you are that guy who goes into the playground and does that. You're that guy who goes in the playground and you beat up like a girl half your size, and everyone gathers around you and they're cheering and they're happy because they want to see you succeed because you are that cool. So that's the appeal of the Lunchable. It's just how fucking cool it is, right? The Lunchable is the coolest snack food that has ever come out. All right, it's cooler than Pizza Fridays or Donut Tuesdays or we had Subway in our school too. It's much cooler than Subway. It's a freaking Lunchable. But here's the question, all right? When we separate it from the nostalgia, right? When we look at it today, does the Lunchable hold up? So before we answer that question, I'm just going to ask you guys to comment something else in the video, and that's if you would like a shout out next week. So I will start doing shout outs from now on to people who watch and who comment. And, if there's too many of you, like not all of you got a shout out, but I'll do my best to give as many of you a shout out as possible. All right. So the Lunchable. Where'd it go? All right. So the Lunchable, right? So picture this: you're a little kid, you're walking into class, and you have your little lunch bag with you. Lunch bags were also one of those class things, right? It's like the poor kids would have like a brown bag or like a grocery bag, and the rich kids would show up and they would have like a nice lunch box or like a tin box or like those nice lunch boxes that you see that adults have. I just put my Lunchable in this like sack from a grocery store. All right, and it's been sitting out for a while. I bought it earlier today. It's been refrigerated, and yeah, it's still a bit cold, but I wanted to simulate sort of real lunch conditions. Excuse me, real lunch conditions. All right, so here it is. Put it aside for now. As sort of a palate cleanser, I have a bottle of water, and that'll become important later. And yeah, so let's start off. with the packaging, or actually the price. So if I look at my receipt from earlier today when I was at the store, I paid $5.99 for that Lunchable. That's the price that you get. Uh, so again, that's not a bad price in and of itself, but when you think about it, 5 days of lunches, that's about $30 for a lunch over the course of a month. $120. Like do the math, it adds up pretty quickly. So again, for most kids, like a Lunchable were a luxury that we couldn't have every single day, just because again, like I'm sure the price has gone up because of inflation or whatever. I'm not gonna make this political, uh, but like I'm sure back then it wasn't more affordable either. So this is what it looks like, right? This is the Lunchable. Right? So start off with the packaging review. So when I look at the front here, this is the ham Lunchable. It comes with ham, cheese, crackers, and a Kit Kat bar. We talked about Kit Kat last week. I'm not going to review the Kit Kat bar today. Just know that it is a good chocolate bar. All right, so right off the bat, you can see the packaging is it's one of the packages that exists. It's by Schneider's, which was established in 1890. Good, reliable meat company. I think they've only had salmonella outbreaks a couple of times in their history. You see the little Lunchmate logo up there next to the Schneider's logo. Not a great logo, to be honest. Kind of dull. It's just kind of yellow, and I don't know what font that is, but it's like not a super interesting font. It's like kind of light blue. This is like a plastic part. The back here, again, it's just been in a grocery bag, but already you can see the back is like, it's kind of crushed. So like not the best structural integrity for a container. You're gonna show up to school, and if you have other stuff like an apple or whatever in your lunchbox, your Lunchable might get a little crushed. So just take note of that. All right. Over here, like packaging on the back, not great. There's a lot of shake. I don't know if you can hear that. The Lunchable has some shake to it, so the products aren't packed nice and tight. A lot of air in this package. All right, so right off the bat, apart from the funny monster guy, I'm not the biggest fan of this package. All right. Packaging, honestly, for $6, and for the lunch that's supposed to make you like top shit when you're in elementary school, this doesn't pass. I remember in the past, I think we used to have like a little cardboard slip over them, and the packaging was nicer. I don't think it had the monster, but I can't remember. I'll look that up later. Packaging, honestly, a 6 out of 10. All right, and now let's actually look at some of the information here. So you get 7 stackers. So by a stacker, they mean smoked ham, processed cheese food. I kid you not. It says processed cheese food with cheddar. Processed cheese food with cheddar. So not processed cheese, not cheddar, but processed cheese food with cheddar. If you know what that means, can you let me know? Because I'm actually kind of curious. All right, so you get your smoked ham. All right, not just any ham, smoked ham, processed cheese food with cheddar, and wheat crackers with a Kit Kat bar. All right, and you get 7 of them. We'll count them to make sure. 13 grams of protein for the Protein Patrol. I don't know if that's good or not, but Protein Patrol, comment, let me know if that's good or not. And no artificial colors or flavors. There's not much color anyway. It's cheese, it's yellow, and light pink ham, and like brownish crackers. Then on the back, 38% less packaging than before. Shout out to the environment. And a little phone number for Schneider Foods in Mississauga. This is, of course, Canadian, so the stuff I'm talking about is in Canadian dollars. I should mention that earlier. The nutritional facts back here. Not great, to be honest. Yeah, not the healthiest thing. All right, so now let's get into this actual review. So when we open it, first of all, it's not clear where you open it from. A lot of these things have like a little tag or a little raised lift, but still you can open it from this ham side here, and it opens nice, and it does peel off. All right, so this is what you get on the inside. Can you see that? Get your crackers, your ham, your cheese, and your Kit Kat bar, all separated into different slots. Kit Kat bar right here. What a cracker looks like. This is what a ham looks like, smoked ham, and this is what your processed food cheese with cheddar looks like. All right. So let's just do a quick count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So packaging is accurate, at least. All right. So now we move on to the taste test. We're going to do 2 taste tests today, and this is just for the integrity of the product. But one thing I will say is that this is missing a couple of things. So one thing we'll get to later, but where's the juice box? You know, like how are you going to be, cool Jim on the playground or cool Jenny on the playground, or whatever gender, not going to get political here. You identify as that cool entity on the playground without a juice box. Juice box sold separately. All right, so a lunch without a juice box in the 3rd grade, the 4th grade, that's just not something that's acceptable, right? It's like you buy a car, but the chair is sold separately. Or, the steering wheel is a subscription service. Don't get any ideas, Mercedes. All right, so no juice box. Big omission. All right, so right away we can tell that it's not quite in ripoff territory, but it's not quite in bang for your buck territory either. All right, so we're gonna taste test each individual component minus the Kit Kat bar. We'll save that for later. Then we'll put them all together and taste the complete product. The stacked. Well, they just call it the stacker. All right, so the cracker. It's actually pretty good. Not too salty. It's like a wheat cracker, so it's not like that white, like kind of tasteless cracker. Like it does have some taste. Mm. Mm. Actually, this is a good cracker. Like that's a solid cracker. Like if I just had a bunch of these, I wouldn't mind having that as a lunch with maybe like a spread or something. So now we rinse the palate and we go for the ham. Ham is, it's not super thin. It's like a little thick. You can tell there. What do I compare it with? This pen, So it's maybe like a third of a pen thick. All right. So not the thinnest ham, not the thinnest ham, not the thickest ham. Decently flabby. I don't know if it's just me, but I can't get a good sniff on this. All right. Maybe because I'm sick. So taste it. Oh, it's one of the hams. Consistency is fine, but it doesn't really have much flavor to it. It just tastes like a super generic ham, which is a letdown for like this meal. Doesn't taste smoked enough. It just tastes ham. So smoked ham, mid. Kind of scared to eat this now because I know it's not cheese. It's what they say it was. Processed cheese food with cheddar. So the processed cheese food with cheddar, around the same thickness as the ham. It feels like kind of oily in the hands. Like that's maybe a good thing. I don't know. Tastes like nothing, to be honest. Maybe because I didn't rinse my palate after the ham. Try that. Try it again. All right, palate rinsed. Take another one, just to be sure. I'm definitely getting hints of cheese. Like this is a cheese. It's not really good cheese, it's not like a Kraft single, or it's not like those marble cheese that people buy. This is just like bare minimum cheesage. All right, but of course nobody gets a Lunchable like that. So now rinse the palate one more time, and we'll get into the actual taste test. All right. Take it here. So, cracker. I don't know if you guys put the ham or the cheese on top in this image. They have the cheese and the ham on top of that, so we'll do it that way. I think usually I did it the other way around. Comment down below. So here we have our stacker, right? You get 7 of these in a package. See the ham, cheese, and the cracker. All right, let's try it out. Honestly, to all those kids who flexed having Lunchables, I don't get it. It's not bad, but it's not like dazzling either. That being said, stacking your lunch is the coolest thing that's ever been invented. So, bonus points for that. And the Kit Kat. Right, so for $6, it's not awful. All right, it's not the best, it's not the worst. Like, I think the novelty of just having a stackable lunch is special for kids, but you know, if you're like a decent parent, you can maybe just cut up some like cold meats or like some ham that's actually good and some actual real cheese and some crackers and like put that in some like Tupperware and give it to your kid, and like that's maybe better than a Lunchable, and maybe might be a bit more cost effective too, and might be a lot cooler because it's like homemade Lunchable, right? Homemade stuff's always cooler. And you know, give them like a chocolate bar or something for their dessert. And you know, this is a small Kit Kat. This is a little boy Kit Kat. It's not a big boy Kit Kat. So overall, I wouldn't say this is worth $6. The meal itself, again, stacking it is fun. That's one of the good things about it. The cracker's pretty good, but the ham and the cheese leave a lot to be desired. And I think after eating 7 of these, you know, even if you don't have like if you don't have like another snack in your lunch pail, like it's not going to fill you up. So overall, I give the taste test like a 5 out of 10. So between that, the packaging, it's still 5. It's one of the snacks. I probably won't finish this right now because I have some refried beans that I haven't eaten in my fridge. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is one small improvement that they can make to the Lunchables that I think would raise the score to at least 6 or 7. So we talked about the juice box, all right? $6 for a juice box. But also, what goes better with ham and cheese and crackers than a pickle? All right. I just have some Vicks pickles here. All right. This is live. You're the first guys ever seeing this. All right. So imagine if instead of having your Lunchable just like this, you had another slot and you had like some little pickles in there, like sliced already. These ones aren't sliced. All right. So take one, rip off a little bit. There we go. Rip off a little pickle. All right. Put it back. Put that aside. All right. So now watch this. Cracker. Take the cheese again. Why not? Cheese. Pickle. Ham. All right. Oh my god. Oh my god. This has now gone to become one of the greatest snacks ever invented by mankind. All right. Just adding the pickle and like the intricate dance, you know, like the tango between the different flavors and the elements and textures of it. Just adding that, you know, that pickle in there, that just makes it so much better. So imagine that you're a kid, show up with this pickle cracker, ham, cheese, juice box. That is the ultimate lunch. That's not even like a 6 or a 7. That's like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 lunch. All right. And not to mention, he kept part of it off. Right. So we still have a bunch of this left. Probably not going to finish it. You know, I want to save my pickles for other pickly stuff. But Kit Kat, you know, a win. Definitely a plus. This is good chocolate. Yeah. So, thanks for watching this review. Uh, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.